There's a reason rosters are invariably one of the most important aspects of a fighting game. Knowing the characters is half the fun, and that's doubly true of wrestling games. I mean, characters are what wrestling's all about, and this game is all about characters. Or, more specifically, legends. This is Legends of Wrestling 2. Hands down, the coolest thing about this game is the way it celebrates wrestling history, primarily with its massive roster that definitely comes as advertised. It's absolutely packed with legends. Case in point, last year the WWE released a DVD counting down the 50 greatest wrestlers of all time. 18 of them are playable in Legends of Wrestling 2. Alright, so maybe I guess that percentage isn't all that impressive. I mean, I don't do math, but that's like, what is that? It's like 36%? But the thing is, it's the biggest 36% of all time. We have the likes of Bret the Hitman Hart, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Killer Kowalski, and Superstar Billy Graham. You really have nothing to complain about, regardless of percentages. Percentages don't win you heavyweight championships. So Legends of Wrestling 2 definitely gets the wrestlers right, and it's not just about their sheer numbers either. The character models are good, but what's really impressive are their outfits. Each wrestler has a selection of classic gear, in fact, and most of it should be instantly recognizable to keen marks. Now, of course, you could always nitpick about omissions in a fighting game, especially a wrestling game, the most glaring of which are guys like Randy Savage and Ric Flair, but there's more than enough here to glaze over any of the roster's shortcomings. Unfortunately, though, the game's other problems are a bit less forgivable, and that includes some pretty major presentational flaws. Now, obviously, graphics are going to be one of them, although the action figure-like character models are done pretty well. The rest of the game really lags behind. The arenas, the crowds, the colors, the effects, it's all just really bland. That makes the game look bland in turn. There are also some frame rate issues, particularly with this PS2 version, and that can be as annoying as an easily distracted referee. Come on, I had the 3 count! Now, another presentational problem, at least for me, is the way the game mixes eras. Legends of Wrestling 2 may have a classic roster, but it drops those wrestlers into a time machine and takes them into the Attitude Era. There's lots of blood, lots of really generic late 90s hard rock in a game with Andre the Giant and the Iron Sheik. The presentation just doesn't match the content, doesn't make any sense. There's also an issue of some wrestlers using other wrestlers' finishers, but otherwise I really like what this game has to offer. It has really interesting controls for a wrestling game too. They're based on chaining together combinations by timing your button presses in tandem with other moves. It doesn't make for great multiplayer, as you and your friend will probably just memorize when to press the buttons, but it's really fun for single player, and it's a really nice change of pace from, you know, old school button mashing. In fact, I gotta tell you, the only thing that really bugs me about this game is Scott Steiner. Like, Big Papa Sucks. This really isn't a game for casual wrestling fans. This is a game for people who are, like, actually aware that wrestling existed before Hulk Hogan. The roster's terrific, the controls are unique, and despite a lack of polish in the details, at least magic happens in the ring in Legends of Wrestling 2. Watch me lock on this sharpshooter. Everyone taps out of the sharpshooter.